Hello, wonderful world, and welcome to Transformation Tuesday. Today I got a very clear message of what I needed to express through this beautiful opportunity to connect with all of you. So please join me in taking in a deep breath and exhale. Allow yourself to be completely here in this moment, present, open to listening with your spiritual ears, your physical ears, and your mind. Take in another breath and exhale. One more breath. Dropping the shoulders down, bringing in the energy of light. Today I want to connect with you on the importance of the law of attraction. You see, it's that invisible law that happens whether you believe it or not, whether you see it or not. It's just like gravity. You may not believe in gravity, but if you're climbing a tree and you slip and fall, you're going to go towards the ground. That's gravity. Not saying you're going to get hurt, because if I envision that, I'm going to see myself landing on my feet. But the point is the law of attraction is in effect at all times, whether you believe it, whether you can see it or not. And the important thing about the law of attraction is that what you think about is what you create. And as a collective, all of our thoughts are so powerful in creating. And many times there are so many people that create by default. They're not thinking about what they're thinking about. They're following along and having emotion from what they see. And it works the same way with abundance. And if you're worried about not having enough to pay the bills, and if you're focused on the lack of, but even though you want to be abundant, and all of us want financial security, but wanting and feeling it and being able to close your eyes to what the momentarily reality is in order to change your emotion and change your focus to attract abundance, that takes some work. That's using your spirit muscles, your brain muscles, your mind muscles, because now you need to focus on where your mind is and think about what you're thinking about. So if you're saying, I'm practicing abundance, but then you're saying, I'd really like that, but I just can't afford it, then the universe is going to show you what you can't afford, because that is your spoken word, that's your emotion, that's your intent. And I wanted to use this as an example of freedom and peace, and how important it is as a collective right now that we visualize and feel the outcome that we want. This is an incredible opportunity to make the changes in this world that many of us never thought would be able to happen. Equality, the end of racism, the end of brutality, to live in a world where there's peace, where we can actually have a police force that protects us with courage and wisdom instead of judgment and brutality. But if we stay focused on what we're seeing and what's around us, then it recreates the same over and over. If you're listening to people say, it's been this way for 100 years and it's not going to change, then they're creating limitation and blocks where it's not going to change. So if you're one of those people who are sitting on the sidelines and saying, you know what, I don't want to create any kind of energy, so I'm not going to be involved. I'm just going to ignore it and act like this isn't happening. That's not going to help create the positive change that we're going through right now. The best thing you can do is see the world the way you want it. With our brothers and sisters, no matter what their skin color is, walking beside us, side by side, borrowing sugar, pulling weeds, helping each other out with the groceries to the car, being connected in every way through love and no fear. And if you're out there marching and protesting, then instead of focusing on what is not happening in the moment, know that every step you take, you're walking towards freedom. You're walking towards doors opening for everyone, for peace, for prosperity, for abundance, for liberty for all, for love. And if you're sitting at home watching the TV and focused on the news and shaking your head and protest and saying, well, how do you want freedom and create violence at the same time? Then you're focusing on the violence. You're not focusing on the solution. So I ask you, my brothers and my sisters, all of my spirit family, let's get together and let's focus on what we want. Let's visualize peace and freedom around the world. And if you say, well, that's never going to happen, and that's too much to ask for, then you're creating limitations and you're putting up walls. And remember in the beginning when I told you you can't see gravity? Well, you can't see the law of attraction either. But it happens, and it's happening right now. We are all making this happen right now because of the injustices that have been right in front of us in this moment, but it's also awakening us to the injustices that have happened all along on a broader spectrum. This is the time for change. This is the time for healing, for love, for the reality to be the reality that we all want. I know we want to live in an abundant world. I know that we want to live disease-free and no fear. Could you imagine being able to leave your doors open, know that you accidentally left your car unlocked and it'll still be there in the morning? How wonderful of the neighborhoods would it be if the kids could just go in and out of each other's house and know that they would be fed and loved, regardless of the color of their skin, regardless of their education, regardless of how much money their families make? What if we could just look beyond what our eyes physically see now and let our hearts start creating? Why can't it just be a small world after all? Peace begins with me and you and all of us. And things that seem so far away and so unobtainable, it's happening right now. But let's not focus on the fight. Let's not focus on the war. Let's focus on the peace. I take a knee for peace. And I see all the different colors of the beautiful spirit clothed in flesh, lining up together, hand in hand, arm in arm, sign by sign. And I ask you to visualize and create the world that we want, and let it begin within you so that it just spreads out and reaches into the outer. Think about this. Think about it all day. And please be aware of your thoughts. And when you start moving into anger or frustration or hatred or walls of blockages that create limitation, remember, you can be the difference. You can make the change. I can make the change. The whole world is changing right now. And this is so significant. And it's a beautiful time to be alive and to create the changes that are going to release the whole world from a disease called racism that has gone on way too long, where those who want to walk hand in hand in marriage, it doesn't matter what your gender is. When those who want to walk together hand in hand, it doesn't matter what color you are. Where there's no poverty, where there's no illness. So I leave you with this, asking you to focus on wellness, focus on abundance, but most of all, focus on each and every one of us connected as a collective whole, walking, living, breathing, eating, and evolving, expanding into a planet of peace. This is Pastor Reverend Lorina Pyle. I love you all so much. And I'm asking you to please like, share, and subscribe. Now let's spread the energy of what we want the outcome to be. And until we meet again, think well, create well, love well, and smile. Bye for now.